Natterjack!
I was here the whole time. Let me go find things. Right, so important things. Good, right, stories. So, my name's Nick, it's Ersatz, Natterjack. I'm going to tell you a story, but I'm very lazy and can't really be asked to think of words. So I'm going to enlist your help. You probably write like reasonably accurately. Well, no, fuck it, you then. Just get out to it, right, because I can either think of things nor remember things. So, your job is to make notes of things that might be important in the story, and then make sure I can see them.
Yes.
That's the deal, right. So, the way this is going to work, I'm going to tell you a story. Come back.
Sorry, we ran away. We were excited. Can we come back?
Minute my fucking shop! It's good. Come. Right, so, but why I do need help. So I've brought 2 books for me, which I'm going to require people to give me words and short phrases from when I run out of words or ideas, which will be frequently. I've brought 2 lovely books. The first is Uncle Arthur's Bedtime Stories, which is very nice. Who would like to give me words or short phrases from this book? I see a little pass at the back. I'm not going to throw it, that would be a terrible idea because I will just hit Francisco in the face. The other book is Will It Microwave? An invaluable handbook for every microwave user from 1974. Microwaves came out, it's very exciting. Who would literally give you words and phrases? Oh, I think we'll start at the back. Very nice, you'll enjoy this. This also has pictures, but they're not very good. So that's a shame. Right, what else do you need for a story? I guess we should probably have like some kind of inciting incident, shouldn't we? Yeah, what's the thing that might happen in a story?
Thomas killed the mayor.
Thomas killed the mayor. Fuck. Oh, that's pretty serious, isn't it? That's going to require a drink before we begin, for reasons of lubrication. The mayor was a drunk. It is in truth universally acknowledged that mayors and people in positions of authority must be drunk in order to bear the weight of that responsibility, for it is great and crushing, and a person can be flattened entirely smooth by the sheer weight of having things to do. The mayor of this town, which we shall call... Where's my fucking book? There.
Ladies' fingers.
We should do a brief time to explain why the town acquired the name Ladies' Fingers. It's an unusual name and one that conjures a range of exciting possibilities. Is it the very common plant called Ladies' Fingers, which you might have seen in your nearby wood? It's an exciting kind of fungus. They go tall, they look like fingers. Terrifying. But no, the truth is darker and weirder than that. The truth is in fact that...
Whiskey!
Whiskey is the cause of all life's problems, and all the things that in life that need to be named can usually be named through the pursuit of whiskey. You see, one time in 1572, a young lady named... Oh, this is not going to go any better. Young lady named...
Preserves.
Another tangent to explain the name Preserves. Preserves came from a family of people who held on to things. They were hoarders in a way. You know, they would keep things they found in the woods, like leaves, buttons...
Soggy canvas,
the kind of things that one just finds abandoned in the woods when the campers have been murdered by bears and things just left behind for them. So they would keep these things. They would, one might say, preserve them, and hence her name Preserve. It wasn't a very good tangent, but that's sometimes the way that stories go. We return to the naming of Ladies' Fingers. Whiskey was very important. Preserve was a lady who liked her whiskey. She liked her whiskey rough and made of corn mash, so technically not whiskey. Nonetheless, that's what everyone called it. Her favourite kind of whiskey was... Oh, this is not going to do well.
Jesus.
Was
Pigeon.
Jesus? What?
Pigeon.
Pardon?
Pigeon.
Pigeon whiskey. A kind of whiskey formed from the leavings of pigeons. You might have noticed they leave behind themselves a white substance that is quite thick and sticky. Should you distill that, if there's something very wrong with you, and you live near a wood that has nothing but bare shredded canvas, you might feel that the only thing you can really do with your time is to brew it into some kind of appalling liquor named Pigeon, which is a rough kind of whiskey, corn mash, pigeon shit. It's not good. Fucks with your head. Unsurprisingly, when one runs around the woods at night screaming while drinking this pigeon whiskey, and one looks down and sees in front of them their own fucking hand, they name the town Ladies' Fingers. So, Ladies' Fingers, the mayor had many responsibilities. One of those responsibilities was...
See potatoes.
See potatoes! Talk to potatoes! Promote potatoes! It's a pretty big deal in this realm of potatoes. The mayor had a name, obviously, everyone has names. This mayor was called...
MacDonald.
Mayor MacDonald of Ladies' Fingers. A man whose sole priority mission in life was to promote potatoes to everyone who came within the city's limits. I'm going to call it city. I think it's a cathedral, but it's pretty big by this time. We can go beyond the mere cathedral definition that we tend to employ in the British Isles. Doesn't apply in other places. In France, of course, a city is defined by having...
Roll up and secure with a cocktail stick.
Roll up and secure with the cocktail stick signs. If your city is big enough to merit cocktails and cocktail sausages, you are a city. It's a very simple system, and we should adopt it over here because it would erase the whole religious requirement of having a building that's very tall, took many people's lives to build, an awful lot of money, and well, it's just a big hole, isn't it? Rant over. We return to the important matter of potatoes in the town of Ladyfingers. So, our mayor, who had this wonderful quantity of potatoes, was, the people in the town named Mayor MacDonald.
Piece of paper.
Piece of paper! You know more use than a piece of paper! Mayor MacDonald! In Ladies' Fingers they had no inkling that paper could be used for drawing upon, for writing upon. No! In Ladies' Fingers, papers had but a single use, and that use was...
Bounce off the metal walls.
bouncing off metal walls! You crumple it into a ball, you throw it at a wall, it bounces off. One! That's how they begin Monday. By the time you get Sunday, they're all the way up to...
The Bible!
The Bible! Yeah, it's, as you know, the verses in the Bible are numbered. So rather than just millions, because they don't have a Bible because they don't use them for writing. Complicated, but by the time you're up to 94.249 verse 8, that's your Bible, slapping on the wall, falling to the ground. It's a shit town. Ladies' Fingers is not a good place. Mayor MacDonald, as we know, derided as no better than a mere piece of paper by the people who lived in Ladies' Fingers, was a sad, lonely, another adjective.
Oh, my dear, sorry. Fatty.
Fatty! In his liver, not in his form. It's fine. They had continued the practice of drinking pigeon-based whiskey, and it doesn't do your innards very good. That's not even a sentence. But yeah, you understand the basic meaning, as did the people in the small town of Ladies' Fingers, which we named to be a city because it's larger than that. Mayor MacDonald, frustrated and enraged by having given a man a job of writing and having not once looked at the bit of paper that the man is writing upon. A small digression from my own benefit. What's on the bit of paper? Fuck, you've written loads. Yeah, I got most of that, cool. Mayor MacDonald, useless to his people, sat in his office, reeking of potatoes. For around him, at every juncture, there was a sack of potatoes, maybe half filled, empty in some places, but for the tiny dust of a potato. Now, you might not know that the dust of a potato is a thing that has a peculiar resonance, so much so in the city of Ladyfingers, that it had actually been named. The dust of a potato is called...
Leopards.
Leopards! You might think that means something else. You might think a majestic puma-esque feline that climbs a tree and fucks up a lion, or eats a vulture, or goes and bangs a zebra. I don't know what leopards are. Where I come from, the city of Ladies' Fingers, leopard is the dust of a potato. A sad dust of a potato sitting at the bottom of a sack that's been emptied. All those potatoes are gone. There's no more potatoes to be had. What are we to do, the townsfolk cried, as Mayor MacDonald sat surrounded by these sacks of leopards, unaware of the alternative meanings that would happen in a different place. So he made a telephone call. He knew that this was his sacred duty. He was the only person in the city with a telephone. The telephone had a number. That number was...
Serves 4.
What?
Serves 4.
Syrups. I'm going to interpret what I think you said. Syrup spork. Pretty sure that's what you said. He sees his telephone numbered syrup spork. Obviously, that implies a whole series of other telephones around the rest of the country that have similar names, like cocktail stick, Jap's eye spoon, and other cutlery-based jokes. At the other end of syrup spoon was the most important person for people in Ladies' Fingers, the most important person in Mayor MacDonald's life. That person was...
The Hinges.
The Hinges. I know, you laugh, the Hinges are a nickname. It is also a nickname for the local fixers. Those who made everything work, who flexed between the gaps that sit in between society, between criminal and lawmaker, between farmer and cow. The hinges are at the centre of everything. They are between every door, every window that might swing open, swing shut, crush your future, give you hope, throw you into the past. Probably, yes. And the past is a place that Mayor MacDonald wished to go. You see, in calling Syrup Spork and talking to the hinges, he needed to effect change. As you know, they're down to the barest leopards in these sacks. There's nothing left for the town of Ladies' Fingers. There are no more potatoes to be had. The people in Ladies' Fingers are unsurprisingly angry, enraged by Mayor MacDonald's refusal to do anything about this until just but a tiny dusty leopard remains at the bottom of a sack. Poor leopards, waiting to be eaten. The smell of tubers gone. The phone, it rang at the Hinges house. The Hinges house was, of course, a big house, lovely big house, a house called
Variable power.
Variable power! Which obviously reflects the various power balancing and power sharing aspects of being a fixer in a community of criminals and lawmakers. Sometimes you have a lot of leverage, don't you? Sometimes you don't have any leverage. Sometimes, it's your mum who runs a fish and chip shop and you can get a bag of chips. It's not a lot of power. Variable. On the other hand, if you need to sell some heroin, you've got Mick down the road. There's heroin. Lots of power. Variable power. That's my point. It's on a scale, it's a good name, it's the right name for this house. There's a house at the top of the hill, had 19 windows, 4 doors and 3 bathrooms. No other rooms inside. Variable power, You need to exercise sit-down power and get some toilet time, you're there. You want to watch TV or go to bed, you're fucked. So this is where the Hinges dwell. It was their ancestral home, if you will. They've been there for a very long time. Centuries, in fact. They've been there since before Ladies' Fingers was called Ladies' Fingers. Back when it was just a patch of bog with 3 bits of grass around the edge of it. Back then they called it
bedroom window.
Bedroom window. That's why there aren't any bedroom windows in Variable Power. Maybe it's just a swamp. It's not. It's quite a complicated call with the double glazing firm who came and glazed the toilet instead of a window. Tricky times. Anyway, the Hinges. They received the call via the Syrup Spork from Mayor MacDonald, and they answered in their natural accent, which is
Poultry.
Poultry. Mayor MacDonald was hugely apologetic. He realised he'd called it exactly the wrong time. He called it at 8:15 p.m, which of course everyone knows is when the Hinges go
excited.
That's how a sentence works. They go excited, and they were. A little feathery flummox flying to and from the 3 toilets in the house, battering against the windows. There's 19 lovely windows. And they were just going nuts, going mental. It was the wrong time. Unknowingly, Mayor MacDonald had unleashed mayhem. Mayor MacDonald had called such a sacred time, a time of excited, to the chicken people of the Hinge, that they swore vengeance upon the town of Ladies' Fingers. Ladies' Fingers would be
Served with baby. No, we're gonna end it there. Served with baby.
served with baby! The greatest punishment that a chicken can bring to bear upon any human being. You eat our fucking babies, whether fertilised or not. We're gonna fucking have you with baby. They said in chicken, I just and that was all that Mayor MacDonald heard down the phone. He knew he'd fucked up. He knew he'd maybe done the worst thing in his career, the worst thing as mayor of Ladies' Fingers, or at least the worst since he
ate a newspaper.
ate a newspaper. Oh, the fucking outcry. Oh. Ladies' Fingers, the times they had. Anyway, Mayor MacDonald had unleashed mayhem, havoc on the town. He went to bed terrified, huddled in one of the little potato sacks, smelling faintly of leopard. He knew he'd done something terribly wrong, and he knew there was no way that he was going to get out of it. Because what do you do when you've rung the fixers and you fucked up their excited time, and they just declared war on your whole village? So he just slept for a bit. As we would expect from our municipal representatives. He didn't have any real power, and any power that he did have was a projection of other people onto him. And so him cowering in his office was probably the best thing that could happen for the small town of Ladies' Fingers. Thankfully, Ladies' Fingers has a flotilla of
kidneys, comma, livers.
You said karma livers.
Comma.
Oh, Kidneys, comma, livers. That's right, they had the organ police. Ladies' Fingers Police Department was packed full of internal organs. Just flopping about. Head of the organ police, this is not a good direction to go. Head of the organ police was Captain Lung. He was a rootin' tootin' sheriff. He had 3 pistols and 1 breath. He's a lung! What do you expect from him? Without the associated muscles to inhale and exhale, all he's got is 1 breath. 1 breath to use at the critical juncture of his life. He'd been holding it for the entirety of his existence, knowing that one day he'd need to use that breath to do something important, something meaningful, something that would change the face of Ladies' Fingers forever. Was today to be that day? It might be. Let's go through some of the days that he didn't use that breath. That was the day when something happened at the zoo.
Shirley's mother.
Shirley's mother fucked up the zoo. She just rocked up and started punching zebras in the tits. Very bad for Captain Lung. He went, no, this is not my time. This is not a big enough emergency to resolve. Even when the zebras turned feral and started eating children, even then he knew it wasn't the thing to do. Nor indeed when France declared
butter. All I got is butter.
declared butter. Declared butter on Ladies' Fingers. He said, no, there is no butter on us. Our town is not greasy, you fucking French bastards. Captain Lung stood to one side, held his breath. It's going to be fine. It will resolve itself. The massacre that followed was a problem for the French and for Ladies' Fingers, but Captain Lung did nothing. He knew that his time was coming, and that time was coming because the Hinges, they were out for war. They were going to come, they were going to go, we're going to eat you and your baby, and they were coming over the hill the very next morning. So the next morning was a Tuesday, some people's favourite day of the week. Weird. It's not mine. What day do I like most? I don't know. It's too close to the end of the week. It feels like it's all fucked up. I like Saturdays. You still have the promise of a weekend and the week's behind you. It can get ripped away from you, but for a moment you can hang in that suspension of disbelief. Anyway, enough about me. So, Tuesday morning, the Hinges rock up in town. Ladies' Fingers has no idea because the useless fucking slattern Mayor McDonald has done nothing other than hide in a sack of leopards all night, doing nothing but worrying and mithering, nibbling on his fingers and his knuckles, going, oh no, I fucked it all up. Them chickens are going to come and kill all of my people. Did nothing. He did nothing until the sirens began, the early warning sirens on the edge of Ladies' Fingers that hang high in the trees. Which probably what they're called?
Shirley.
They're called Shirley! Shirley, you'll remember from an earlier part of the story, in punishment for punching zebras in their tits, had been strung up in a tree. Her only job is to watch for danger. Any danger came around, she was to bellow her own name repeatedly until someone came to stop her. Didn't matter what it was, could be an owl, could be, I don't know, a fire, could be a war. What other bad things are there? Could have been, you're not looking at your book.
Very sorry, what was it?
Could have been
English or Spanish?
Could have been English or Spanish! They're both bad! Very bad colonial imperial history behind them. I don't think there's a great defence you can muster for either country, really. But you know, we are where we are now. You know, we try and live with the history that we've got and try and make a better future, you know? Anyway, that was Shirley's job. In a tree, screaming her own name as the Hinges boiled up over the hill with their pitchforks and
painted sparrows.
Painted sparrows! You've been threatened with a painted sparrow. Terrifying. Really hard to paint a sparrow, they're mostly sort of brown. So in order to like achieve that sort of flecked effect, you've got to be quite good at it. Otherwise, what you got looks like a sort of terrifying fossil monster that someone is thrusting at you. Anyway, they came with their birds, battering on people's houses. Ladies' Fingers crumbled and began to fall under the weight of the painted sparrows and one of the other things I said, they had the pitchforks. The Hinges were out for fucking business. They started stringing people up, putting them on platters, sticking forks in them. It was all very bad. Mayor McDonald looked from the window of his little mayoral palace. City, isn't it? Everyone's got a mayoral palace. And went, oh, fuck, I've done a bad. And he went back and hid in his sack of leopards. It was time for Captain Lung to step up. There's only one thing you can do when a bunch of marauding hinge-type chicken people have come into your town and are swearing blood and hitting things and threatening you with poorly painted objects. He took the one breath that he'd been holding, that horrible stale breath that's been sat in his lungs for nearly 30 years, and he cried,
The microwave is ideal.
The hinged chicken stopped immediately. They recognised in his words the innate and implied threat that there was a microwave that could cook the fuck out of them. They were right, for Captain Lung, waiting for this problem to arise at some point, having strung shit up in the tree, had arranged a series of pit microwaves around the edge of the city. And as the chicken people ran, flopping and squawking into the town, they began, one at a time, to fall into the microwaves. And there was a and a bing, and they began to rotate and cook. It was awful, but terrifying at the same time. Something big happened, it was.
Mummy took in a stray cat.
Mummy took in a stray cat! Captain Long was distracted at a critical moment in his day as his Lieutenant Kidney cried this exciting news at him. He looked away just as the first of the chickens took a full revolution inside the microwave pit bomb mine thing and exploded with a bam of feathers. Rotisserie chicken was served. It was a beautiful sight, just the sight of chickens exploding through the lids of microwaves all around town. Like little feathery fireworks of blood and gore and beak. Mayor MacDonald arose from his little leopard sack and climbed out and looked through his open door where a man named Thomas stood, looking fucking furious. He looked at Mayor MacDonald and said, "Oi, you!
See potatoes.
See potatoes?" MacDonald said, "No potatoes!" Thomas kicked him through the fucking wall. Mayor MacDonald was dead, because you don't survive that shit. Doesn't matter what you see in Hollywood movies, you get kicked through a wall, you're a dead motherfucker. They did the only thing that they could do, and that was they harvested his organs and recruited them into the police force. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our story.